just this probably 3 or 4 day old baby bunny.
What's like the area that you're drawing?
Everywhere, all over the state. I mean, I work with a lot of animal control officers close by in the surrounding towns, but people have driven hours to come here. As long as they're in the state of Massachusetts, they can bring the animals. We can't take anything from out of state because Mass Wildlife wants to keep, obviously, viruses and any potential diseases or anything like that. But then we have, these guys are probably same type of animal, like 2 weeks old, but more cottontails. They're only
docile, huh?
They're chill right now. I mean, relatively, you can see how this one's a little bit more active right now. But they're very young, only maybe 2 weeks old. So baby squirrels. I'll throw on some gloves.
Yeah.
So we do small mammals. Some wildlife rehabilitators focus on birds. Some focus on reptiles and amphibians. We do small mammals here. So like this guy. So this one had a really bad parasite infestation and was an orphan. So we do some lab tests here. Like we test like fecal samples, and we noticed they had a really high load of coccidiosis, which is a protozoa, and it's also important because that can be spread to people's pets as well. People can also get it. It's called a zoonotic disease that people can get too. So when we get these animals that are really sick and we treat them, it doesn't only just help our wildlife, but it helps domestic pets and people as well. Now this guy's only about maybe 8 weeks old, so still pretty young, but we get them all ages. I know, like, wait, feed me, please.
Now, let me ask you this question. How did you get, like, why did you get that?
So we're on...
on this, like a squirrel, like that. Is it because of that possible?
Yeah, so he was orphaned, so he was like literally on someone's shoe.
Okay.
And they were like, what's, so they'll call us and they're like, what do we do from here?
I got you.
You
Okay,
know?
I got you.
So we'll ask them like, well, is mom around? Like, how do they look? They'll send us pictures. Sometimes we can tell they're dehydrated or really thin. So we'll usually work with them. Sometimes it's just like one fell from a tree and needs to be reunited. We'll kind of talk them through that, But when it's obvious, this one looked really neurological. He looks a lot better now. When he first came in, you could tell something was definitely like wrong with him. And also it's really important with the mammals that, you know, especially the rabies vector species. We keep an eye on them too, and do testing and stuff for labs in the event that like something has rabies. Usually not.
Right. Representative Elliott and I were just talking about it. Like I think it was on BZ yesterday or something about a lot of sort of Boston suburban towns or like Brookline and weird areas all around Boston are having a lot of rabies situations right now with raccoons. With raccoons,
it makes sense. I mean, I've picked some up from Chelmsford that had rabies too. Like it's difficult because rabies and distemper really look very similar. They all look like the animal's drunk. Like some people think they won't want water, they're frothing at the mouth. I rarely ever see that, but they walk around like they've just had one drink too many, you know. And that's important because the quicker we take them out,
they become a little aggressive, don't they?
They can. But there's also friendly rabies. So everyone knows about the aggressive rabies.
Yeah, I know about the
But what messes people up is the friendly rabies. They act like they were someone's pet. They lose all fear of people and they're super sweet. And that's when people can get in trouble.
If you see animals like those raccoons.
Right. Yeah. But by the time ours are released,
Simon
they don't
would probably want to go pick one of them up. I almost did.
That's so cute. That's people get in trouble with the baby raccoons a lot. We have some here, like these two. They're real little. I know.
They're so cool. I think they're the coolest animals.
They're really cool. Intelligent.
Those claws are really sharp too.
They are. So that's the issue too,
awesome,
right?
right?
Because like, if an animal has rabies, they spread it through scratching or biting, and if these claws are meant to like grab trees, so it's very easy for them to accidentally scratch it.
She found? Oh yeah.
This was sent from another behavioral. I don't remember where she actually got them, but she didn't have a time to do they need like constant bottle feedings every few hours, so you have to have somebody available to do it.
Bunch of limbs.
I know, right? They're very vocal, especially when they're hungry.
I think they're so cool.
They're super cute. Very smart. Very smart. So all of ours are vaccinated and dewormed. They're vaccinated against rabies, distemper, parvo, and they're dewormed, but they all go through a quarantine process too. to keep our staff safe. But everybody on our staff, there's 7 on our staff, and we're all vaccinated against rabies as well.
Those hands.
I know.
They're like
Crazy,
people
right?
hands,
Yeah.
like the way that they feel stuff. So when they put things in water, they have like it increases their sensitivity like times 9. So people would think that they're super clean because they wash everything,
Totally.
but they're actually putting things in water so they can get a sensory overload. Like they're looking at it basically whenever they're putting them in water. But they're crazy.
It's really interesting you bring up that point about their hands, because
Yeah.
now you think about how every time you take the trash out, like we do for Tuesday nights, how good they are at getting into trash. Like, look at
They're
those
so
kids.
smart, yes.
Right. They're like,
and
they have a lot of
figure
like,
stuff
right?
out. People say
unbelievable.
like, oh, it'd be cool to have them as pets. I'm like, no, way
No, they're
too
pretty
smart.
crafty.
They would get into every
They're crafty.
drawer you have.
We
They
have cement
figure out
blocks,
how
they
to-
lift them off. How do they do that?
Our raccoon
Now look at their
enclosures,
hands.
Yeah, they figure it out.
It's unbelievable. And then do they work in, like, they work together on some of that stuff, right? I know. It's
I
unbelievable.
had like at one point I had this enclosure in the back that has like this heavy rock covering a
Yeah.
hole because we used the hole to like clean it. And I found that like I had 11 in that cage and multiple ones got together to move the rock.
Wow.
I
that's-
figured we
that's
were
crazy.
safe because one couldn't move it. We've got them all back in. They were young. By the time it's dinner time, they're like, "Wait, can we come back, please?" You know.
Sure.
But at that point, I was like, "Crap, we have to like really think about it." So these are some of our younger squirrels. They're still formula fed every 3 to 4 hours when they come in.
Wow.
So it's pretty. It's
Now, when
pretty
would
constant.
graduation time be for this
For the
young
raccoons, 4 to 5 months,
Okay.
and we have some in the very back enclosure that are ready for release now. Just
Gotcha.
looking for a good spot for them. But these guys are only about 4 or 5 weeks old, so they'll end up being over winters. Because in New England, by the time these guys are 5 months old, it's not fair to release them because they got no chance. They haven't had a chance to get used to stuff and find a good food source. So these guys will stay here over winter, but the rest of them will be ready to go before winter time.
So every 3 to 4 hours, is somebody doing that at night?
There's someone at night. Luckily, most of these guys don't have to be fed overnight. Sometimes when we get them really little, when they're like newborn and furless, it's overnight. Luckily, nobody here right now. But yeah, they're in the beginning of baby season. This is Stanley. I'll bring him out. He's a groundhog.
I see him in there.
Oh,
Yeah.
We're looking for permanent
Those guys are
placement.
cool.
They're super cool. They eat a ton.
Groundhog and hedgehogs too are kind of cool.
Yeah, we don't have hedgehogs
Wow.
here locally, but groundhogs.
Oh,
are
these guys
one
are
of
so cool.
Stanley we're looking for permanent placement for because he's epileptic. We just took him to Littleton Animal Hospital
Wow.
to get looked at. He's on anti-seizure medication, so we're seeing how he responds to that and making sure we can keep the seizures under control. He's been here since he was tiny. And he seemed like he was developing okay, but the other groundhogs were less friendly and
Yeah.
sexually. He always was just very, oh, he loves corn.
And woodchucks look really similar, right?
Same animal.
Yeah,
That
they look very similar.
I figured that out. It's
They're bigger though,
woodchuck-
right? They're
no,
bigger? They're
same
small?
exact animal.
Really?
Woodchuck,
I
groundhog,
thought they were a little
whistle
different.
pig. No, I thought when I first became a rehab,
Yeah.
I literally thought they were 2 different
It's
animals.
unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
They're this, I think they're the coolest, and they get to about like this big, right?
They're pretty. Yeah, they'll get like 15 pounds or so. He's like a teenager. But he has to have meds 3 times a day, so he will never be releasable.
It's okay, like
But
most
they're-
teenagers.
They're, but they're
It's a joke.
fascinating. They're fascinating. They're true hibernators, and like what their bodies go through in the winter is incredible. Like being able to actually slow their heartbeats to just a couple times a minute, to like breathe just a couple times a minute. Their temperature goes to like 40 degrees. Like it's insane that they can survive that. But they have to be really, really healthy before they can go into hibernation. And actually 7 out of 10 die their first year because if they don't do hibernation properly, they won't make it. They have to go below the frost line. They have to make sure they have enough fat on them to survive the winter. So all those things have to be perfect for them to make it.
You could care less we were here, right? He just wants to
He's
eat
pretty.
that. Yeah.
He's different from most of them.
It's
Like
pretty
the other
crazy.
ones I have
Look at
care.
that.
He's neurological. He's special. He's my special.
He's cool.
Stanley. He's pretty. He stole all of our hearts. He's a stuck talker.
Yeah, he's like, yeah. Let me digest this.
They're so expensive to feed these guys because all they want is veggies. It's
I was gonna
funny.
say, this is a nice spread.
Right. You see what the beavers
Not
get
bad at
too. Like
No
I look
carb
at the
diet,
fridge
right?
Better than
here.
I do.
A little bit of grains,
Yeah.
little grains in there.
Yeah, nice.
How are you funded?
By people, by usually by
donations?
Facebook. It's
Foundation?
all private donations.
Wow.
Private donations?
Everything you see here was funded by the public. Everything.
Wow.
I started this. I was a general contractor. I was only going to do this like on the side, like in between working, and everyone. What happened was one of my plumbers had a raccoon that they had removed from their warehouse, and she had babies, and he didn't know, and he couldn't find a rehabber for them because everybody was full. And I used to do it in Georgia when I was younger, and I was like, I'll get licensed to take care of these two legally, and maybe I'll do a few every year. And then once people started finding out that I was doing it, my phone became like overrun, like it was crazy. So then I was like, all right, I'll start a little Facebook page, see if I can get a few donations, see what I can do. And it blew up. The community embraced it. I think anyone that's ever found a wild animal in need and couldn't reach anyone or couldn't find a place for it, it matters to them so much. Like everyone at some point has come across wildlife in need. And so there's so much support. So I've just kind of gone off with what people were able to do for us. So this entire room, all these incubators you see, like everything, these cages, all the lavish meals these animals eat is all from public donations.
Wow, you must have must have a pretty good campaign on that.
I just do
because
Facebook
You
posts.
gotta do
like,
this quite a bit.
Yeah,
I mean, they
like
have to eat.
all I do, I make sure that people know what we're doing. They know all the animal stories. They know what Stanley's been through. They know when we have new intakes. I just did posts about baby bunnies this morning. So I constantly show them what we're doing with the funds. And anytime I'm like, we'll post an Amazon list or anything like that. The veterinarians work for us for free.
Yeah.
They just donate their time.
That's
You say you have
fantastic.
7 staff?
7 of us, yeah. I have an office manager that answers the
All volunteer or
phones.
some of them?
No,
Oh,
some of them
yeah,
are volunteers, some of them are paid.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
the
of course.
full-time job, like Tiny's a single mom, she's here 40 plus hours a week. 40 would be a low week for her. She volunteers a lot of her time. She'll take the animals home and work at night, but like absolutely she's
God.
paid for her time.
What's her name, did you say?
Tiny.
Tiny?
She's amazing.
Hi,
She
Tiny,
keeps us
thank
nice.
you.
She's an incredible,
Thank you,
incredible
Tiny.
human being.
We'll try to let you go home early today.
How did you do?
Okay,
How'd
so
you,
you
how'd you
take the
figure out how to
animals
like start the nonprofit and do all that?
It kind of, I ended up, there were people that I knew that knew more about than I do, because it's all paperwork, and I'm good at triage, and I'm good at like helping them when they're in really rough shape, but the paperwork aspect of it was way more than I anticipated. And filing for 501c, holy crap,
it's a
like I
lot.
had no idea. So yeah, I had a lot of good people that offered to help, so we got that approved, but that was not by any means on me. If I didn't have people helping me, like I have Marjorie answers all the emails and responds. She's the ones who responded to your email. Like, Jane, they want to come. Come on, answer. And then I have a lady who answers the phones because we get 70 to 100 calls a day. We only house 60 animals at a time. But sometimes people, they just need advice. Sometimes like my dog got into a bunny nest. What do I do? Does it mean mom's not going to come back? My kid touched
So
the
Jane, let me
baby.
ask you this question. So if you get those 70 calls or something around that line, is it regional or is it just Chelmsford?
It's
How-
regional.
How regional?
Oh, it's regional.
How far?
It's the entire state.
Oh, okay.
It's the entire state, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
I didn't know
I'd
if
say most of them are within an hour's drive from here, but
Wow.
sometimes,
Where's your farthest? What would you say your farthest?
as far as someone be willing to drive.
Okay, gotcha.
I work with other rehabbers too, like Dawn Collins is in the Berkshires, which was
Wow.
a 2-hour drive.
Sure.
But she had an orphan fox kit that was the same age as 2 kits that I had, so we drove out there to go get them. So,
Wow.
and it's nice, there's 200 wildlife rehabilitators in the state of Massachusetts. We've been very fortunate that our Facebook page took fire and we've had so much support, but there's a good community of rehabbers that'll work together, We run into issues when you have an orphaned beaver or an orphaned otter where there's not a whole bunch of them. If you get an orphaned squirrel or orphaned groundhog, you can always find a buddy for them. But the orphaned otters or orphaned beavers is a lot less likely to find. And when you raise one by itself, it's very hard to release it because it bonds to people and not other animals. Does that make sense?
Totally.
So we actually had a beaver transferred from Rhode Island to be with our beaver. But she was 5 months old at the time, and she wanted nothing to do with it.
If you have an animal that has some sort of specific idiosyncrasies or needs someone who sort of understands the behavior of that animal a little bit more, like, do you bring that vet in?
It's hard to find specialists with certain animals. Like, even if you were trying to find a specialist with the groundhog, like, there's no vet in Massachusetts that specializes in just beavers.
No,
So
I know.
yeah, no, but it's like for me, I didn't realize that. Like I didn't realize how little information really is out there about those things. So we'll work with Tufts Wildlife Clinic. The two vets that I work with, Linwood Animal Hospital, Wilton Animal Hospital.
Yeah.
Both the vets I work with graduated from there, so they learned a little bit about wildlife. But a lot of it is still unknown. There's so much that people are still figuring out about wildlife, about. You know, like,
I was just wondering, like, if you had a bald eagle, and I know there'd be something else.
I don't take those. That's
Okay,
like state protect those. There's only 2 places
Grafton,
you're allowed
right?
to take
North
them.
Grafton?
Yeah,
Yeah, North
they'll
Grafton.
take the ball. I can't even touch it.
Jane was saying that, like,
I'll show you.
she doesn't take any animals outside the state because Mass Fish and Wildlife don't want them from here and bring
Keep
in
them all separate.
Of course.
their diseases
Yeah.
or something like. So you have a fair amount of
Makes
interaction
sense.
actually with
Invasive
sounds like,
disease or
with
something.
the state agencies.
Yes, we have to. You have to be in compliance, you know. So like I can't take like there's some animals that I can triage, but I can't rehab. Like
Sure.
coyotes, it's a special permit.
Who made this?
I posted on Facebook. So this is
unbelievable.
Amazing. I posted on Facebook that I want to make
Come down here and
one.
meditate.
Yeah, I know, right? My kids are jealous. So the
unbelievable.
animals look better than beavers.
Really?
But beavers can't defecate or use the bathroom at all without being in a big pool of water.
Sure.
So
You
like,
blame them?
not really.
Come on now,
This
guys.
becomes
We
a
all do a big
toilet.
pool fight.
It becomes a toilet.
Right.
This has
Poor
to be
guy,
cleaned
you
out
know?
3 times a week. So we emptied out 3 times a week and refill. I usually don't have the water going. We're trying to wake her up right now. So beavers don't like the sound of running water.
Where is she?
She is. So he'll show you.
Over here.
Oh, she's in there.
Is there like a net?
Can you coax her out, babe?
So the beavers obviously like to dig, and so they dig down on the sides of the pond. She's not in this one, but she has about 3 openings in here. She's got another one around this side that would be very tough for you guys to get through without getting stung by a bee or falling in the pond. But
Either one of those would be good.
That would
she's
be
got one
fun.
she hides out in here during
So
the
can I
day
ask you,
sometimes.
we have a significant beaver population in my district.
Yeah.
Wreaks havoc with dams and the impact in my neighborhood.
Right.
And it's, as well as over in Chelmsford, to the point where about 2 weeks ago, they released a dam and 11-foot wall of water impacting it. So when do they trap them? Do they bring them some here?
They can't, no. So when you can't relocate. So
cannot.
anyone that you
And why
hire
is that?
or move it. I don't know. The Mass Wildlife is one of their rules and regulations.
It's the law.
It's the law. So legally, if you hire someone to remove them, they have to euthanize them. You can have someone remove animals from your house and let it go in your yard legally. But if they're removing beavers, they're euthanizing.
By the way, did Jane let you know she has over 125,000 followers? 100 on Facebook.
Facebook page, but not that many.
It's insane.
Which is, and the response, every post she gets a huge response, hundreds of shares, thousands of thumbs up and hearts.
To a lot of people, you know,
Yeah.
a lot of
People like animals.
Yeah,
They like to say
people,
they
a lot of people don't like people, but the animals you feel bad for, you know?
Yeah,
It's so true.
yeah, most of us like animals a little bit more than people.
It's so true. Yeah.
Because they're more innocent in a way, you know.
And it depends on the people.
Yeah, right. We all love you, Jim. You know.
Oh, here he is. Oh my God.
Hey, there's a beaver.
It's gonna go right in
Oh,
I love it.
oh.
This is Nibby.
Oh, that's Nibby, the famous Nibby.
Famous Nibby. She was on CNN. She got a video with more than 11 million views.
Yeah. Likes that banana, huh?
Oh yeah, we've had her since she was tiny. Johnny brought her home one day. He was working in Worcester. We got the call in Sturbridge, and she was like that big. She's the cutest little thing.
I mean, is this just
Thank you.
is this all this time she spent with humans? Is she's like
I'm worried about
She's okay?
her because she's pretty chill now because she's noticed since she was a week old. So I want to wild her up, but it's harder with her because she's been a single, like I was saying about trying to. I did have one transferred in from Rhode Island in an effort to get her used to other beavers, but
Good to see you, Rodney.
she hated that beaver.
Bye, Anita.
Thanks a lot, Rita.
Nice to see you.
Oh, you're gonna leave now too. I can see you later. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.
See you, Simon.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never seen a beaver this close before. I know all the devastation they do in my town.
And that's the thing, right? So one of my goals is that when you understand and can reason and I don't know, understand the animal, I guess what I'm saying is like beavers, they're just driven to build. They're driven to, she constantly wants to put dams together and stuff. And when we understand how they work, how territorial they are, if you ever have beavers removed from an area, more are going to come. They're going to see a perfect area to build a dam, and they're going to want to build a dam there.
How old would she be?
She's a year and a half now.
Okay.
She would leave mom and dad when she's 2 to 3. So this year she'd be helping mom and dad raise this year's siblings, but she was last year. And then she would go off once her hormones kick in, find a mate, and start damming up other areas. But there's people who build like beaver deceivers that are meant to kind of drain a dam without the beaver
That's what we were
yeah,
talking about that.
those are the best method because if you don't work with them, you're always going to be fine.
We were having a conversation because I was saying, Tom, you might remember this. In 1998, they banned the cruel traps. Remember the corner bear trap that they banned?
Yes.
And this is 20-something years ago.
Yes.
And essentially what had happened after that, the beavers at the time, especially, I don't know, like all over the state, but there was a lot of like a huge population explosion.
Yeah.
And a lot of like flooding, like this
Makes sense.
places. But they were all up in arms because they couldn't figure out a way to trap the beavers because of that law that passed.
Oh, I see.
So they ended up like coming up with these, like you said, the deceiver thing. They had like this whole plan to like breach dams differently without
without them knowing.
messing
Well, the thing is, they'll fight each other
Hey,
a
baby.
lot
for territory.
for territory. So if you just kind of leave the ones that are there, they will keep other beavers out. I get a lot of beavers that are from beaver fights that they have.
Now, does that tail? I know this is going to sound funny, but did they really pack that?
They do.
They like use that
Yes.
to pack
You know
the.
what else
They
they
do
do?
in the water at you.
Yeah.
Really?
They will.
I
Oh,
love
they've
it.
gotten us before.
These guys are awesome.
I don't love it because they poop in that water, and then you get too close.
Yeah.
And they're like, take that.
Tough love.
Yeah, tough love it is.
How heavy is she?
She was, I think she was like 25 pounds last time we weighed her, but it's been a while since I weighed her.
Wow.
25.
See how glossy her fur is?
Yeah.
So she's got oil called castor oil that she releases from her glands that keep her fur waterproof.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
So when you see the videos of her
Oh yeah.
rubbing her body all
She's
down, that's
just
what she's up to.
Spreading the
Oh.
waterproof. She's like, I've had enough.
It's like a waxed barber
Yeah.
coat.
What's her name again?
Nibby. It means water in
Nibby with a K
Native
or an N.
American language.
I'm just like blown away that this animal is this calm.
Yes, I know. I know.
know,
Generally, she's an anomaly.
I will
Yeah.
say though, a
Oh,
lot
they're not all like that?
for abscesses and stuff, I am able to take care of the wounds without sedating them because they usually feel like crap. So they're usually more well behaved when they feel like they're upset. But the point of the page too is to help people to understand the animal. So if they fall in love with Nibby, in some ways they fall in love with all beavers. Like you'll never look at a beaver the same way again after seeing one close up.
I've never seen one close up in my life.
That's the thing.
I don't know if
We
I
live
have either,
amongst animals.
Jim,
Like
yeah.
you're saying with the porcupines, we live amongst all these animals,
I know.
and we never see them. We never see them.
So Anita, who works in my office as the district director, she's a huge fan of moose. So how many moose are around?
I've never seen
I'm not
one.
allowed to
In
play
West
with
Concord, in West Concord Village, there's a little bridge over the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail.
Yeah.
And the river that goes right behind there, a couple years ago, there was a moose swimming down.
Get out
Wow.
swimming?
Swimming down the river.
You got to go there, Anita.
will.
Anita drove
Just sit
to
there
New
next to the
Hampshire to look
river.
for
New
more moose.
Hampshire,
I went to the
gotta say,
Moose
they have
Alley.
all
There
the
was nothing.
signs.
That's
But there
right.
was one in Westford, but it was sick, and like they had to
Euthanize?
They didn't put it down right. They had to like,
Yeah, they had one on West Street.
yeah, sedate it so then they could move it somewhere else.
I didn't know there was like this 10-foot rule, so I just always talked to everybody, and everyone's like, "We're down." They're so cool. Like I'm so
Yeah.
lucky. Front, back, left, right. They complete support what we do. So I knew they were fine with it. I didn't think anything else of it, and so but here we are. So we're gonna go to the appeals. I just gotta get all the paperwork in, but yeah. So this one I can't use right now. Hopefully next year. And then the fox
So
enclosure.
the other ones are fine, Jane? Like they're not giving you a hard time?
All
about
of them
them?
have to.
Oh, okay.
All of them are too close. Every one of them.
Do they give you?
Where would they move to, Jim?
They want them to move 10 feet over, but that's the problem. Is like Nibby's enclosure cost me like 13 grand. I'm sorry, cost all my donors 13 grand.
Yeah.
And I just can't justify ripping that thing apart. Not to mention Nibby she can't stay here while I'm working on it. That was a month-long process at least to build that whole thing. So
Wow.
over 10 feet that my neighbors don't care about. You know what I mean? That's what the appeals is for random weird situations. You know, no one's being hurt here. Someone will be hurt if I have to move it. Nibby won't be able to stay here. She has to stay where there's a pond, and she's grown up here. And you know, just removing her to another facility, and there's not. I'm the only one I know of that has a setup like this. I think Cape Wildlife Center has a little pool, but they have an otter in it right now.
And this would accommodate your plans and your vision for things if you have a new location, correct?
Yeah, it will help. It will help. It won't. It would be a year before I can even get that
course.
place off the ground, and Nibby be gone by then. So my hope is that they'll let me keep this as is, but I'm not building any more, and hopefully most of the animals moving forward can just go to a wildlife center. But Mass Wildlife has rules where you're supposed to have the animals where you live. So technically this land that I'm buying is from another rehabber, but you're supposed to have someone there 24/7 too. So I'm still trying to work out the kinks of that, because what I've run into is I'm doing what I'm asked of the state, but it's grown beyond, I think, what typically rehabbers do. You know, most of them have like a small room in their house that they're working at. They take whatever they can. We've outgrown it. We've outgrown it. So I don't want to stop offering the services, but I just got to figure out a better way to do it so that I'm not upsetting anybody. You know.
Yeah.
Didn't expect it to get this far.
Hey.
What are you gonna do?
You're doing
I'll show
great
you
work.
the foxes. Thank you.
You know, and it's just.
The issue that I ran into was one of my neighbors thought I released all my raccoons here, which I don't, because I take care of 40 or 50 of them a year, and this place would be overrun. I never release in the same area twice because I don't want to overpopulate an area. So, but some raccoons killed her chickens, and I think she was emotional, upset about it. She thought they came from here. So that's kind of what spawned the whole thing. But
Do
I think
animals ever try to come back here that you release?
no. Sometimes, I think before when I've released raccoons as we're leaving, we might have one try and follow us back, and so we know it needs more time. But because they're released far away from here, I've never had one come back here.
Not raccoons.
No. Have
A
we had
possum
anything?
during mating season once.
Oh, we did have some boys come back for some girls. We did.
Just one.
But it might not have been ours. It could have been another one.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah, they are. You know how those guys be.
Smelling around the cages.
Yeah, doing their thing. Yeah. Boys.
Well, this has been great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys
Thank
for
you for opening
coming
your
out.
doors to the great work you guys are
Absolutely.
doing. This
Absolutely.
and let us know how we can be helpful.
The rat poison thing, man. Please.
Yeah.
If we can do
totally.
anything. Yeah.
Keeps getting
With the town, I
overlooked.
feel like we did good with getting a lot of the community reached out, let them know how important that we are to the community, and meeting with them and talking to them. I think they want to work with us, so hopefully the appeals will go well. But I think the rat poison thing with the state of Massachusetts is just, there's so many that I can't save. There's so much suffering that I see that, like, if we could work on that, I think it'd be really good. I think it actually would help our rat population also, because I think in killing the animals that eat the rats, we're causing a bigger issue anyway. So,
And let us know also your future plans. I know there's a lot of steps, but
you got a lot of money?
well,
I mean, like 300, 400?
I don't.
He does?
No, but I'm saying you should when things are start moving forward, please
Yeah. Reach
keep in
out.
contact with us.
Okay.
We would like to be helpful in some way.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. It was
Of course,
really nice to meet
of course.
you. Thank you
Including
guys
on
for
the
coming
agency
out.
side, a big part of what we do is kind of liaise between a constituent who has an issue with the state agency. And
Oh, really?
So if something does come up, and
Okay.
reach out.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you
Well,
guys
great.
so much.
Well, guys,
Thank you,
enjoy-
Jane.
Enjoy the last days of summer here, right?
Yeah, seriously, seriously.
Thank you, Jane.
You can actually, if you don't want to have to
Oh,
walk
yeah,
all the
yeah.
way through, you're right out here.
I'm gonna go home and buy our traffic.
Thank you, John. It's John, right?
Got it, John.
And you know I'm Tom Christiano.
Yeah,
You see me on
remember you, Tom,
Facebook?
of course.
Oh, good, good.